Okay, hi YouTube, Mr. User Boss here, and this video I'm going to be going through my top upcoming PlayStation Vita games, part 2. Now this video was requested by John McLean, so great idea and keep them coming. So the first game on this list is Child of Light. Now you may already know this game was already released a bit of time ago for other consoles, and it's been an absolute hit. I mean, the combination of charming visuals and actually innovation in terms of the RPG elements of the game make it quite a fresh experience. I mean, it's not simplified, but at the same time it's accessible, so it's not overcomplicated. I mean, this isn't the kind of game you can just jump into with a 5-year-old, but at the same time it is more appealing than something like Final Fantasy, where it's just very, very difficult to navigate and not very nice sort of experience for first-time users. So as well as that, the sound design is incredible, and this game actually has quite a strong narrative. I think that games like this are exactly what the PlayStation Vita needs, or at least they're the kind of games I would like to play on the Vita, just because, you know, when you go away you want a game which is going to last you a while, you want a rich immersive experience. So the second game which I'm really looking forward to is Gravity Rush 2. So we've got no idea or any details of the game, we've seen no gameplay, no screenshots or anything. All we've had is this sort of very vague teaser trailer, but you know, it's good. I like it. I like the suspense. I mean, I'm hoping that the art style stays fairly similar, because Gravity Rush number 1 was just gorgeous. I mean, I think what the game really needs is just more. I mean, once you'd completed the main story in Gravity Rush, it wasn't the kind of game that I wanted to sort of go back and play again. I mean, all there was to do was just collect the hidden gems, which I'll admit is really, really fun, but I think that it does lose its sort of initial freshness after a bit. And I think that Gravity Rush 2, if it adds loads of extra content, you know, new enemies, because they got a little bit repetitive, and just loads of new powers to unlock, I think it'll be a really great game, but probably not a system seller. Now the thing with Gravity Rush is, because it was built from the ground up for the Vita, like very few games have been unfortunately, it runs great, and everything about this game feels very, very polished, so I'm really looking forward to the sequel. So number 3 is Ratchet & Clank the HD Trilogy. Now Ratchet & Clank is one of my top 3 franchises of all time, you know, along with the likes of Monster Hunter and Pokemon when I was a bit younger. So, I mean, I absolutely love these games, and you know, they last ages. There's weapon grinding, the armor grinding, and there's just so many unique things to find. On top of that, the fact that there's 3 games here, with 3 platinum trophies to find, a ridiculous amount of replayability. You know, after each game, you can play them through another 2 times just to unlock all the stuff there is. And all of that is for the pocket-friendly price tag of $19.99, but there's a catch. The company that's developing this game is the very same one that made the Jak and Daxter trilogy for the Vita, and as most of you know, that was an absolutely horrible game. I mean, I think it goes in the history books as probably one of the worst running games I've ever seen. Now, I know that the Vita is easily capable of running this game beautifully. You know, the PS3, which is about probably 20 to 30% more powerful than the Vita, played this game at 60 frames per second at 1080p. So the Vita can definitely handle a quarter of that resolution at a smooth 30, but it's whether or not that these guys are up to the job. Now, the next game is Hotline Miami 2. So number 1 was a real gem on the PlayStation Vita. I mean, it wasn't a Vita exclusive, but it was one of the few Vita ports that ran really, really well. I mean, it's only a top-down shooter, but it actually has a lot of depth, and it has a platinum trophy to hunt for. Now, number 2 hopes to actually add a lot of new content and new gameplay elements, such as, you know, new weapons, improved AI, and just lots more to do. Now, this game is quite interesting because it's one of the few where the PlayStation Vita version, from what I've heard from other people, actually looks better than the PC version. I mean, they're all absolutely identical in terms of how they look, but you know, this runs at the full 60 frames per second, and because it's on such a small screen, the OLED display, it looks super, super crisp, and the colours just pop. I mean, I've yet to try this game on the slim PlayStation Vita, but from my initial impressions on the OLED, it looks absolutely stunning, and I hope they keep this up with the second, and I can't see why they wouldn't. I mean, they know how good it looks, so I don't see why they change it. Now, the last game on this list is Hohokam, and this is a very, very unusual game. I mean, I'm not even sure if I should call it a game. You basically just sort of fly around in this world doing stuff. I mean, that's as good as I can sort of explain it to you. It's very random, but I actually think it's quite a charming game. I mean, it'll be like the Loco Roco of the PlayStation Vita, which, you know, I think PlayStation Vita doesn't need, but it would be a nice thing to have. It's kind of one of those games where you just sink a few hours into and then just pick up every now and again when you sort of feel like you've had enough of more deep games like Persona 4 or, you know, grindy stuff. But I mean, that pretty much concludes the video, and I'm just a little bit concerned. I mean, most of these games on this list are basically either ports or indie games, so I mean, that basically sums up the future. I was looking through sort of lists to find PlayStation Vita games, which I'm quite looking forward to, and there are very, very few. So I'm really hoping that either at E3 or at some point during this next year, Sony really announces some big titles. I mean, I remember at the beginning of this year, I think it was, they announced God of War and Borderlands 2, which were pretty decent. And, you know, I'm not going to go overboard. I don't think we should expect massive amounts, but I want something. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more.